And now it's time for something completely different again. Hello everyone, and welcome to Let's Play Onlink with Night Dagger. This will be episode 1 of a new series that I'm starting today. Gonna take a short break from Minecraft and play some Onlink, because I've got a couple of friends who play this and they say that they admittedly suck at the game. I'm not the best Onlink player in the world, but I do know quite a bit about the game. I played this since the original Uplink, and Onlink is a free modification that's been designed by the game. A couple of guys, Mia and Taicho, I think that's how you pronounce his name, are designing this. They're actually working on, but they have been working on for ages now, a total conversion to kind of make Onlink their own thing, completely rewrite it from the ground up. However, that's been in progress for a couple years now, so no idea what kind of progress they're making on it. Don't see anything on the forums about it, but that's enough rambling on. Let's get started with this. We are a new user. Now, Onlink is essentially, it's like a computer hacking game. You are a freelance agent who is working for the Uplink Corporation as a freelance computer hacker. You get 3,000 credits to start out with. They charge you 300 credits a month to be a member. You have a little gateway computer which acts as your link between your home PC and the world. We are going to make our name, Night Dagger. Our alias, we don't need no stinking alias. Let's see here. Blah blah. Really secure password. Alright, now we have a selection of where our gateway is going to be located. Since I live in Pennsylvania in the United States, New York would be the closest to me. You don't have to select this one, you can select one anywhere, but I always like to be close to home. So, New York is my home gateway. Now, the first thing you're going to get once you connect to this and once it goes through all of this wonderful installation crap that it does, is you are going to get a screen that's going to list, well, first of all, you're going to get an offer to run the tutorial. If you're watching my video, you'll be good enough that you won't need the tutorial, so skip it. It's a waste of time. It's just basic hacking stuff. You don't need it. So you have a couple of really basic links here. The public access server is what you just disconnected from. We'll come back to Internic in a minute. The Uplink credits machine and the Onlink credits machine, all that does is give you the credits for the game. Uplink International Bank is where you have your bank account, where you have your 3,000 credits. Uplink Internal Services System and Uplink Research Center is where you're going to spend most of your time. There's also one random server chosen to be a basic software provider. They sell some of the basic tools that you start out with. They are not really that useful. I usually just keep them on there because, well, I'm too lazy to delete them. So, the first thing we are going to want to do is we're going to want to open our memory banks with the little floppy disk down here. You can see we have a tutorial here that's taking up a monstrous amount of space. We're going to click on this here. This allows you to run programs. We're going to go to File Utilities, File Deleter, and we're going to delete that useless tutorial. It's just taking up space. We don't need it. Alright. Now, we are going to come into the Uplink Internal Services system. Uplink Internal Services is usually safe to connect directly to. There is an exception. I may get into that in a future episode, but we're now in. The first thing we are going to need to do is we're going to need to go to get some software upgrades. Now, you can go into the mission list and do the whole I want all my money up front thing that you might have seen on some other Let's Plays. It's not really necessary. You can get the basic stuff that you need to start with the 3,000 you have. The first things you're going to want to buy is you are going to want to get, where are they? You're going to want a log deleter. We're going to go with version 2 to start. And you can see when you buy software, it ends up in your memory banks over here. We're going to want a password breaker. Do not buy the dictionary hacker. It may be cheaper, but it's worthless if they use anything other than a real word. So it might break the password that I put in, the whole blah blah thing. It will not break an actual password. So we're going to want the password breaker. And we are going to want a trace tracker. Now we can only avoid the first version of the trace tracker at the moment. That's not that big a deal. The only reason I even get the trace tracker this early is so that I can tell if I've done something that's caused them to actually start tracing me, so I know if I have to hurry up. You don't really need it, but it's nice to have. Alright, now that I've got all that stuff, I'm going to disconnect, and I'm going to go to this Internet server. Internet is another server that it is safe to connect to directly. We are going to come into here on security, and we're going to start our trace tracker. You can see right now we have nobody tracing us. Now, in the Internet main menu, you can do Browse and Search, Admin, or Render 3D. Render 3D is a worthless waste of time. It just shows you a nice, cool little 3D image. It's a work in progress, I think. It doesn't really do anything. Browse Search is the first place we're going to go. This is a list of every single system that Internet has record of a DNS on. Now, in order to avoid being traced in this game, you have to set up a bounce route. Depending on what type of servers you choose, some traces take longer than others. Like if you have a public access server, that's public access. The company that owns the server isn't going to mind too much giving records from that out to the government. However, they are going to be a lot less likely to want to cooperate with the government if they're trying to trace you if you use their internal services machine, because that contains corporate secrets. So, we are going to filter this for internal services machines. And we're going to come over here and we're just going to start adding machines. You add a machine by clicking the little plus sign. We're going to pull this down a little bit. You want to have a good number of these machines. I probably have enough for early missions, but later on, the more you can have, the better. I usually start with at least 2 full screens worth of internet. Now, with that, we're going to close this. We're going to come back here to the admin menu. This is one of only 2 servers that you're ever going to want to do this on a direct route. We're going to go crackers, password breaker, and we're going to break this admin password. You can see they're not tracing us. You come up here and click on this. It's going to devote more of your CPU power to it. Since the trace tracker, all that's doing is recording whether you're being traced or not. It doesn't take a whole lot of CPU, so the more power you can put to the breaker, the better. We're now into the admin menu. We're still not being traced. Internet doesn't care if you hack them. This becomes very important later. We're going to access these logs here, and we're going to look here, and we're going to see a connection established from 127.0.0.1. That is always you. From 127.0.0.1, password authentication accepted. That means that we have hacked into the admin section of Internet. That is a suspicious line. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete that. Now it's going to leave this obvious log deleted thing here. We'll fix that later. When I disconnect, it's going to say connection from 127.0.0.1 lost. Or ended, or something like that. These two, the connection established and connection ended, those are okay. Those, anyone connecting to the server is going to leave that in the log. Those are perfectly innocent. What you want to get rid of is you want to get rid of password authentications, and you want to get rid of reroutes. I'll show you one of those in a few minutes. First of all, we are going to disconnect. Now, if you click on this, you're going to see it's kind of a mess now. This up here, where is it? This up here is Internet. Internet should always be your first bounce on a bounce path. I will explain that in a minute. Now, we are just going to go around and we're going to create a bounce network on all of those internal services machines that we just highlighted. what this is doing is it's giving us a long chain of connections that anyone tracing us is going to have to follow before they can actually find where we're routing our signal from. The longer this path is, the harder you are to find. Now there are certain things that you can do that will completely screw you, most having to do with bank hacks. Some having to do with the main storyline, and some just being random bad luck, in my opinion. But this will give us a nice secure connection to start out with. Alright, we have our bounce path. If you come down here into the corner, you see this little button here that says Save. If you click that, it's going to save that bounce path. And then if you hit load, it's going to remember that bounce path and reload it. Let's go ahead and cancel this. Now we're going to come over here, and all of these, this means you can see it on your minimap. We're going to turn all of these off because we don't need to be seeing them right now. If you click this and it's visible, like the Ferris Moon Internal Services machine here, if you look on here, you notice it's red now. That's a highlight. But we don't need to highlight anything at this exact moment. So we're going to kill everything. We're going to come down here. We're going to continue killing all these. Alright, now that we've got that, let's go on a little tour of the user interface. Up here is the current date and time. This here is the IP address of the current computer that you are connected to. Now, if you're not connected to anything, it's going to show 127.0.0.1. This is your time control. If you click this, it pauses the game. It brings up a nice helpful message letting you know it's paused. You have to click this to continue so you can't accidentally unpause it. This sets to play at normal speed, this sets to play at a faster speed, and then this sets to play at a very fast speed. Generally, you don't want to use these unless there's nothing going on and you're waiting for something to happen. So, down here, this lets you run your software. This button here, and this button here are grayed out at the moment. Can't really do anything with these at the moment. This here brings up a manual dialer. If you want to, you can manually dial an IP address from here. I don't think I've ever used it. This brings up your personal notes. Lets you take a notepad. So, Onlink is an awesome game. And you can either keep it in the notepad, or you can post it. If you post it, it's going to send an email to you, so that you can clear this and you can take more notes. You can also pull this up anytime you want. To get rid of this, just delete. This brings up your hardware specifications. We have a 60 gigahertz processor, 16 gigaquads of memory, or of RAM. Now, the memory capacity here is different from the RAM. Memory capacity, think of that as a hard drive. 24 gigaquads of hard drive space. 1 gigaquad per second. A gigaquad is the arbitrary number that Onlink uses for data measurement. Devices, if you have special things, they'll show there. HUD upgrades, if you have those, it'll show there. This is our current gateway computer. If you look at this, there's our modem. There's our power supply, which you can't upgrade. This has room for 1 processor, 1 RAM slot, and 4 memory chips, which you can consider to be hard drive space. This gateway sucks. One of our first missions, once we have the money, is going to be to upgrade that. This here shows your memory banks, your hard drive space. This shows your status. It shows your rank as an upgrade agent. It also shows your Neuromancer rating. Neuromancer is kind of like a moral rating, whether you're a good guy or a bad guy. It doesn't really matter too much in the game. And if you have a criminal record, it'll show here. You can actually get rid of that. I'll show you that later. This here shows your bank account. If you have more than one account, it'll show there. This here shows your mission list. Any missions that you have will be highlighted here. This shows your email. You can see we have a little note saying, welcome to Uplink. Get rid of that. This is a shortcut key mapper. You can use this to set a shortcut for various programs. Like if I want my password breaker to be on F1, I can go password breaker, and now password breaker is assigned to F1. If I hit F1, it runs my password breaker. It's kind of useful for some programs that you're going to use all the time. That said, I don't use it very much. I prefer to do it the old-fashioned way. That's how I learned to do it. Alright, so now we have all the basic tools we need. We need something to get into trouble with. Let's connect back to Uplink Internal Services. And let's go to the mission list. You can see here, there's a whole bunch of missions. Encrypted means that we aren't high enough level. They don't trust us enough to do that mission yet. Change the DNS record for a server. These missions suck. Do not do them. They are not worth your time. They generally take software far beyond what you're going to have, and the pay is crap. They're not worth it. Once you have the good software, if you need something to do to pass some time and you want to make a couple extra bucks, go ahead. But I have seen level 5 everything on these DNS servers. Sometimes you get lucky and they're not protected. Sometimes they're protected better than the banks. It's a crapshoot. It's not worth it. Improve our associates' academic standing. We're not quite ready for that. These we can do. Break into a system and sabotage. Break into a system and copy. So, they're going to pay us 2,000 credits. An uplink rating of beginner or above will suffice for automatic acceptance. Generally, you don't want to automatically accept a mission. You want to contact them, and you want to say, I want more money. That's going to be their usual response until you get some rating behind you. However, they are idiots. You can do this repeatedly. And eventually, they will give in, and they will give you your way. Sometimes it takes a long time. Sometimes it happens right away. Sometimes you get really lucky. There we go. Now they're going to give me $16.50 for my reputation. I'll take it. You can see our mission status is highlighted here. I want more money. No. More money, please. Sometimes it's worth it to take like 2 or 3 of these missions early, do them, and get the rank increase. Because once you've got a little bit more ranking behind you, this I want more money business goes a little faster. It takes a couple of missions for you to get your first rank though, so. Alright. Come on. For the sake of this Let's Play, I mean, you only get 10% more. So for the sake of not having you guys sit here and watch me do this for the next 20 minutes, I'm just going to go ahead and automatically accept these. On a mainframe. Always check your missions if it sounds a little strange. Anytime they talk about a mainframe, I usually check because sometimes these things are stored on a LAN, and LANs are a bitch. You have to have special software to crack them, it's very expensive, and even when you have the software to crack them, they're annoying as hell. Alright, that should be all of them, right there. You can see we have a ton of missions. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to exit the BBS. We're going to come in here and we're going to look for any names that we have in common. So, Terra Associates. Terra Associates. We have 2 missions going to, or wait, was this first one too? Yeah. This one wants us to hack Terra Associates and copy something. This one wants us to hack into Terra Associates and delete something. You always generally want to look and see if you have multiple missions going to the same computer system. Because A, if you do, you can get more work done in a single hack. And B, sometimes one company will be asking you to delete something which another company wants you to copy. If you have deleted the file before you copy it, well, you're screwed. So I think I had 2 to this New Life also. Let's connect to Terra Associates. Let's see here. Terra Associates is not here, so it's one of the ones that I already added. There it is. We're going to mark that red. And where are you, Terra Associates? Oh, there it is. It's highlighted in pink because we have an active mission to it. So, we're going to load our bounce path. Terra Associates Internal Services Machine. And we're going to connect. Maybe. There we go. We are connected to the Terra Associates Internal Services Machine. Now, we're still not being traced at the moment. That will change soon, because here we are going to run our password breaker, and we're going to try to crack the admin password, which we do by clicking on name. They are tracing us. Once we get into upgrading our gateway, faster CPUs increase the speed that programs run. Faster bandwidth increases hacking speed. There's a bunch of things that you can do to increase your speed. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is we need to copy Teradata 42102. Come into here, File Copier. 42102 is right there. We'll open our memory banks and drop it in a slot. We'll contact this guy and we're going to reply. We're going to attach the file he wanted and we're going to send it. And, hey, check it out. You don't appear to have attached the file. What? Yes, I did. Whatever. Mission's completed. We're happy. Break-in and sabotage. They want 50571 destroyed. File deleter 50571 is now gone, so we can reply and send. And our mission's completed. They paid us. We're happy. Now, we're going to disconnect from here. There's a problem. They can't trace us anymore because we've disconnected, but they can still follow our bounce path. There's 2 different types of trace in this game. There's an active trace, which happens when you're actually connected to a system and they're following your link back and forth. Active traces are very fast, so you have to kind of keep an ear out. Once this trace tracker starts going beep, 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 it means they're really closing in on you and you have to go now. By the time you hear it get that fast, it's usually too late. However, there is also a passive trace. They're now going through every system and checking the logs for those systems and looking for bounces. If they manage to trace a bounce back to our gateway, we're caught. In order to avoid that, we need to connect to Internet. This trace tracker is going to be all sorts in my way. I'm going to have to upgrade my HUD to give me a trace tracker, I think. Since I have my screen resolution set to 720, my trace tracker is right over my connect button. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Now, kitty wakes. Whatever. This password for Internet never changes. Once you've hacked it the first time, it'll stay the same for the rest of the game. So, we're into the admin menu. We're going to look here, and here we see some damning evidence. 127001 routed to from 127001 password accepted. Those lines will tell the government if they get to the server that we have done something naughty. We need to make them go away. Now, those logs have gone. When we leave, we're going to leave another one of these closed messages, but we've gotten rid of everything that we need to. We're safe. They can't trace us now. So we'll disconnect and we'll find our next victim. We don't want Gamma. We want New Life. Okay, New Life wants us to copy. And copy. So, we'll tag New Life. We'll come down here and we'll untag Terra. That's Enzyme. That's Protovision. That's New Life. Load. Now, you see we're already bouncing through New Life Industries. If you click on this, it'll remove it from your bounce path, and then when you click on it again, it'll make it the last part of your bounce. So even if you're using a server as part of your bounce path, you don't have to redo your entire bounce path. It's kind of nice. We'll connect. And we'll run the password breaker. If you're wondering how I did that so fast, I used the hotkey. Alright, we're in. File server. These guys want us to copy 15033. Where is it? 15033. It's right there. That's a pretty big file. 3 gigaquads? Yeah, that's a pretty big file. So, let's send that to them. Alright, that mission's completed. Now here, this guy wants us to copy 60474. So we're copying that. It's another fairly big file. You can see we're running out of memory space. We're going to have to clean our system up soon. We're going to reply with 60474. They've gotten our email, they're happy, we're happy, and we are out of the system. Now, you don't have to necessarily clean your logs after every hack. I have a very long bounce path. It's going to take these guys forever to passively trace me. I can just go through and do the rest of these missions without having to worry about being traced. So we've got 1 enzyme, 1 gamma, 1 high speed, 1 protovision, and a high speed. This one's a delete, this one's a copy, so we want to do the copy first. Enzymes right there. Gamma, high speed. Load. Connect to high-speed computers. Come on. Come on. Connect. Thank you. And once again, hack the password. Oh, this is a long password. Excuse me for just a second while this hacks. I'm going to take my headset off and clear my throat. Aneurysm at whatever. That was a hell of a password. I wonder how long that would actually take to break. Should run that through that how secure is my password site later and see. Alright, 25598 they want copied. 25598, where are you? There it is. It was down a little bit. And we'll put it there. Reply with 25598. I don't recommend doing this until you're a little bit more accustomed to the game, because I'm still connected to a system and I'm doing maintenance stuff, but I know I have plenty of time. I know I can get away with it, so that's the only reason I'm doing this right now. These guys want me to delete 10660. Done. Congratulations, our rating is now confident. We'll disconnect. We'll come here. We have a destroy data, a copy data, and a destroy data. So, let's go ahead and load our bounce path. Do enzyme first. Which one was enzyme? This one right here. They want us to destroy 44419. Now, notice I'm not clicking my file deleter yet. That's because if I did, it would eat up RAM for no reason. So, file server, and which one do they want us to get rid of? 44419. Where are you? There you are. You're gone. Mission complete. Give us our money. We'll disconnect. We'll load our bounce path. We'll connect to Gamma Incorporated, and we will connect. We are being traced, it just didn't beep. Let's see, what do they want us to do in Gamma? They want us to copy something. 24432. Notice my password breaker slowed down? File server 24432 is copied. It's in our databanks. These guys are tracing me a little faster. We'll disconnect. Leaves us just ProToVision. Okay, we'll connect to the ProToVision server. These guys had a long password too. They want us to delete files. We'll wait. Oh, ProToVision's tracing us fast too. The speed of an active trace is kind of dependent on the monitor program that the company uses. If the company has a higher level monitor program, it'll trace you faster. But not fast enough. We're going to connect to Internet. And we are going to go into the admin menu because we have been very, very naughty. And we are going to go security, log delete. We're going to delete all of these bounce rates. We're going to turn up our log delete as priority. Now, anyone with a log undeleter could come in here and undo what we've done. That would not be good for us. Now, we haven't made a big enough nuisance of ourselves yet for them to hire someone who has a log undeleter. So, we don't have to worry about it quite yet, but we're going to have to worry about it soon. Once you start getting into government computers, they start caring a little more. That means it's time for our first software upgrade. First of all, we're going to delete GAM data. We are also going to delete our log deleter. Why are we doing that? Because we're getting a new one. We're going to come down here and we're going to come to log deleter. We're going to hit next version. We are going to buy version 4. Version 4 of the log deleter makes you impossible to detect. Now, I'm also going to come over here and Connection analysis, no. System upgrade, map show trace. Do I have enough money for that? I do, but I don't really need it right now. You can get a better version of the trace tracker too, but I do want to get the version 2 trace tracker. It's going to be a while before I have the spare money, before I feel like, there we go, before I feel like spending money on the map show trace. And map show trace I don't think beeps when they complete a connection hop. Now this trace tracker is a little bit better. This one will show me not only when I'm being traced, but it'll also show me the percentage of the trace that's completed, so I can tell how close I'm running to being caught. I'm running up on the 40-minute mark, so I'm probably going to end this video pretty soon. Let me just give you a quick tour of the software that's available. Bypass and disables. There are 3 different types of software to get past security, and there are 5 different types of passive security systems, we'll call them. There are monitors, bandwidth monitors, encryptors, firewalls, proxies, and sentries. There's actually 6. A disable will allow you to turn off any of that program. So this is a bandwidth monitor disable. It will allow you to eventually disable any bandwidth monitor of version 1 or lower. The next level allows you to do version 2 or lower, version 3 or lower, whatever. The bandwidth monitor bypass does it instantly. However, you have to have the HUD connection analysis plugin, which costs 20 grand. They're also more expensive. The disables take time, and they will be traced. The bypasses won't take any time, and they will only be traced if the monitor is actively analyzing that security system. If you pause it while it's analyzing it, it won't pick it up. So you can kind of play a hopping game to keep it from picking up on the fact that you're doing something. At least until you do something obvious. If you try to hack a password, it's going to know. The compressor and decompressor allows you to compress files on your computer. It's kind of pointless. I don't use it. The decryptor. Sometimes when you download software from a company, it's encrypted. You have to use a decryptor in order to break the encryption on the file so that you can, send it to your employer so they know what they're looking at. Otherwise, they just get a bunch of garbage. Decipher is another type of security system. I call this an active security system because it actually requires you to do something. It has an on-screen display, and it actually requires, well, I mean, it's kind of like the password. It's a different type of password, we'll put it that way. Let's see here. The administration panel lets you change what's being run on your computer currently, lets you change between regular and auxiliary gateways. That's all subjects for another episode. PC Force stuff allows you to hack into personal computers. LAN Force stuff allows you to hack into local area networks. The IRC client here basically lets you connect to IRC, so you can talk to people from in-game. Let's come down here. The log undeleter basically lets you undo a version 1, version 2, or version 3 log. The log modifier lets you change an existing log to something else. It lets you frame other people. Patch system processor, if you're running very, very high-level processors, you have to have system patches so that your computer knows what it's looking at. Let's see here. The voice analyzer is for the third type of security system, which is voice recognition. If you can figure out who the admin of a system is, you can copy his voice by calling his home phone. Then you can use the voice analyzer to play back a security message, which will get you access to that system. VDPin is another type of active security system. It's kind of like a password, except it doesn't really show you what you're doing. It's a complete total pain in the ass. It is a devilish system. I hate it, but it's a very good security system. Hence why I hate it. There is a third type of bypasser. You have the bypass, which requires the expensive program to see connections, and while it's instant, it will allow you to pause it, but it can still be traced. You have the disable, which will kill anything of its level or lower. You also have another program that you can get elsewhere called a killer. So proxy killer, sentry killer, whatever. A killer program will eventually kill it. No matter what level it is, no matter how good their security is, it will eventually get past it. It's slow, it's brutal, it's painfully obvious that you're doing it. You'll be traced a couple of seconds after you start it, but it will eventually succeed. They're great programs. I highly recommend their use over disables. Bypasses are the cream of the crop. Once you can afford bypasses, go that way. But killers are the way to go early game. There is one type of security system that you can't kill or disable, but you can bypass. It's the monitor. If you monitor bypass something, it will suddenly no longer see your attempts to break security systems until you actually get into the admin menu. That means you can break a password, you can break a VDPin, you can break a voice print recognition. Until you actually hit the login button for the admin menu, it's not going to notice you're doing anything wrong. So it gives you a lot more time to pull off a successful hack. Alright. I'm going to end this episode here. It's been 42 minutes, so when I come back, we're going to do some more missions. I'll go over the hardware upgrades and the auxiliary upgrades in the next mission, and we'll hopefully get into doing something a little more interesting than just breaking in and stealing one file or copying one file or whatever we're doing. And may also pick up some new hardware and some new software upgrades. So, hope you guys enjoy this new series. This has been Night Dagger with Let's Play Onlink, Episode 1. And I will be back with Episode 2 probably sometime later tonight. So, I will see you guys then.